All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, God Kadash. I just want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of GMS that rule well and teach for forgiveness and 100% truth. All right, so I just want to get into this little topic while I'm at work. It ain't going to be too long. Going into not every Israelite is going to look like Wesley Snipes. Okay. And this is a stumbling block for a lot of Israelites, especially the so-called Negroes, because they think that all Israelites are supposed to be of a dark color. Okay. And that's a stumbling block for them. Okay. So you got to understand that the Israelites were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay. So they're going to look like all throughout every nation that they're scattered at, they're going to look like those nations. Okay. You got to understand that there was a lot of mixing going on as well. Okay. So it's impossible for them to look like, be of a dark color. Okay. This is Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, and Yahawah shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even to the other, and there shall serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Okay, so the Israelites were scattered because we disobeyed the Heavenly Father's commandments. We didn't hearken to his word. Okay, and you can get that Deuteronomy 28:15. It goes into the curses. Let's get Ezekiel 39:23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies, so fell they all by the sword, according to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions I have done unto them, and hid my face from them. Okay, so you have Israelites scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, the Israelites starting with the so-called Negroes, Latino, Native American Indians. Okay, so you got to understand that just because somebody looks like a so-called white man doesn't mean that his line go back to Esau. Okay, just because you see a so-called Negro doesn't mean that is an Israelite. Okay, that could be an Edomite. His line can go back, because you got to think about, there's been mixing going on. Okay, even back in slavery, you had the slave master sleeping with the Israelite women. Okay, so when the slave master and the Israelite woman have a baby, that baby will be with the mother, right? And then that baby will grow, will be raised with Israelites, and then once he get older, he will marry an Israelite, and then so far you see that generation. Okay, so that's why you got a thing called the wheat and the tares. Okay, the tares being that the devil, which is Esau, sowed his seed into an Israelite woman. Okay, which that you call that baby a bastard baby. All right. So you gotta understand that the Heavenly Father's heritage is like unto a speckled bird. Let's get that. This is Jeremiah 12:9. It says, my heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. Okay, so the Heavenly Father's heritage is like a speckled bird. Okay, it's gonna come looking all different types of shades. Okay, you're gonna have Israelites looking Chinese. All right, and this is like a big stumbling block. Okay, because not all Israelites gonna look like a Negro. They're not gonna be dark complected. They're gonna look like where all the nations where they scattered at. Okay, I'm gonna read this again. This is Jeremiah 12:9. It says, my heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. the birds round about are against her. Okay? And it said the birds around about are against her, these other nations. Okay? It says, come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. All right? So the Heavenly Father's heritage is like a speckled bird. Okay, so don't think that every white person come up to you, every Chinese person come up to you, you assume that they are, you assume they are Moabite, you assume that they are Edomite, okay? And just because you see a so-called Negro, don't think that he's an Israelite. He could be an Edomite, all right? Because we got to understand, let's get Hosea 7 and 8. It says, Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Okay? Ephraim, the northern kingdom. Okay? So you got to understand, it says a cake not turned. Okay? Different shades of brown. All right? So they're not all going to be of a dark color. All right? Let's get Hosea 8 and 8. It says, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. So the nation of Israel, we was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, we were swallowed up. Okay, among the Gentiles. Okay, so what did the Israelites do? They marry these other nations. Okay, which that was going on. We weren't supposed to marry these other heathen nations. We can deal with them, but we're not supposed to make it marriage them. We weren't supposed to marry them. Okay, but Jacob went off. Okay, so they had women. They had babies by these other nations. Okay, so you gotta understand that you can't just go based off. You can't just reject somebody or just assume that somebody is not an Israelite. Okay, yes, we might have our opinions, or we might think that's a Jake or whatever, but really that's the angel jobs. When they come back, they're gonna do the separating. All right. So let me get this is John 7 and 24. It says, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Okay. So we're supposed to try their spirit. Okay, we can't just judge them based on how they look. All right. So now I want to give an example. Now check this out. We use this a lot. Blake Griffin and his mama and daddy. And daddy is a Jake. And Blake Griffin is his mama's a Edomite, from what it looks like. Okay, and she might not be, but it's just showing you an example. Okay. Now, this is an example. Now, imagine if Blake Griffin was to get with an Edomite woman, okay, and then his son gets with he has a son that gets with an Edomite woman, okay. Then it just fades it out, okay. So that's what I'm saying. You're not going to be able to tell, okay. So you can't just judge off how somebody looks, okay? Because you gotta understand that, and then it's also based. There ain't no such thing as you being mixed, okay? Because it's all based on, it's based on your father. Okay, your father carries the seed, right? Let's get Numbers. So Numbers 1:18, I think. This is Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Okay, so if your father is an Israelite, then you are Israelite. Okay, it goes based on your father, not based on the mother. Okay, so if an Israelite woman had a baby by an Edomite, okay, which is a so-called white man, then that's what her baby would be an Edomite. It doesn't care if that baby came out dark or looking like her. Okay, you are what your father is. All right. So, and this is a stumbling block. Okay, that a lot of Jakes stumble on because they just suspect that every Jake is gonna come looking like, gonna come out supposed to be dark. Okay, because they line can go back to the tribe of Issachar. Okay, Gad. Okay, all these different tribes. Okay, you gotta understand that the Israelites are as sand of the sea. Okay, and that's a lot. So a lot what you see, possibility be Israelites, man. Let's get Hosea 1:10. This is Hosea 1:10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it said unto them, you are not my people, there it should be said unto them, you are the sons of the living power. Point is, the Israel is the sand of the sea. So the Israelites is not a minority out here. Okay, it's a lot of Israelites out here. All right. Some people say, how can you tell? Well, how can you tell you if you're Israelite? Or you can't chase your DNA back or whatever. Well, this thing of ours is based on faith. All right. And the Heavenly Father is not the author of confusion. Okay. Let's get Spirit. Bear witness. This is Romans 8:16. The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. Okay, that's how we know. Our spirit bears witness. Not only that, the signs. Okay, the curses. Okay, so that's how we're able to tell. So when you come to somebody and their spirit is bearing witness to this truth, more likely that's an Israelite. Okay. Because like I said, the Heavenly Father is not the author of confusion. You can't come into this unless you're an Israelite. Okay? Okay, yes, you got wicked Jake or whatever that was set up to scoff or whatever, but if you got somebody coming and they don't look like the average Israelite, they come here looking like a so-called white man and they spirit bears witness and they call on the name of Yahawah, then more likely that's an Israelite. All right? This thing is spiritual. This is based on faith. All right? Because we can't trace our records back. All right? So, the Heavenly Father's heritage is like a speckled bird. Okay? Judge not off the appearance, but try the spirit. All right? So, I hope this video was edifying. I want to say shalom.